Hallo zusammen! Hallo Berlin!
Welcome, Berlin. Welcome to everyone not from Berlin, most of you probably. Welcome to Republica 23. Great that you're all here. Ah, this is so nice. Last year the stage was back there and, it was sort of like split, but today to see everybody right in front of me, it's great. You're all looking fresh. It's Monday. We all have energy. Yesterday we could relax, watch a German crime show on TV, and now we can, fully energized, come to Republica, and I'm really happy you're all here. We have 3 really, really, really special days in front of us, and the topic this year is cash. We're going to talk about money, the economy. We're going to talk about everything that relates to money, like to earn money, to spend money. How did we pay yesterday? How will we pay in the future? Pretty interesting topic in Germany if you try to pay anything by card and not with cash. Like in London, you can even pay street buskers using your credit card, and that's not possible in Germany. And so there's a lot to talk about. We have this playlist curated with the biggest songs about money. Do you know the song "I'm Rich"? Very few people. And he sings "Ich bin Freischwimmer," meaning I'm a swim freestyle, and I always misheard that lyric. Anyway, so he was with the German band Die Ärzte in the 80s, and we have him with us now. He is behind this event together with 3 other people, so give it up for Johnny Häusler. Good morning, Republica. All right, have a look.
Ja, willkommen.
Welcome to our supermarket of fresh ideas. We're gonna do things a little differently than the last few years. So I'm gonna talk about we start planning Republica in the fall when we discuss what theme, what topic we want to discuss. Oh, I should have made a longer pause. So when we have the topic set, then it gets really interesting because we need to come up with a design as a team. And so with the topic of cash, we had to be like, what's a good fit? And so supermarket, right? Neon colors, special offers, and then we have to transfer this into this space right here. And then we were like, oh yeah, a huge market, right? We have all this equipment right here, and so we could say it does look like stuff needs to be moved around, right? And that's on purpose because we feel like we need to move something, and so there's no items, right? But behind the stage, there's like this huge aisle, right? And you can use that. So cash is a very, very big topic and emotional, right? It's like charged, full of emotions. It's about rich and poor, haves and have-nots, and inequality. And I don't know about you, how old you are, more than 20 years old probably. And my parents always told me, to finish my meal, finish my plate, because children in Africa don't have anything to eat. And so early on, from an early age, I learned that, there's people who are hungry and people who aren't hungry. And now, 52 years later, my stepdad regularly calls us and tells us that, at Aldi or Lidl supermarkets, there's the special offers. And and then we try to tell him he shouldn't eat that because of the animals, because of the planet, because the conditions in which these items are produced. And so, does that make a difference? Well, of course, the individual's choice has an impact on the market. And so, if there's nothing to rent, and the demand goes up, and then the supply chains crash because of a pandemic, and everything becomes more expensive. And so people have less money, right? But the big companies, the big supermarkets, the big companies, they got richer because of these crises. So the super rich became even more rich. And so we shouldn't, point fingers at each other and deal with these sort of small problems when the problems are obviously very, very big.
Well, there's a number that belongs to this. 1% of the world's population has half of the world's wealth. It always blows my mind. So if you want to change or to save the world, eat your plate. No, this is not it. Don't worry. Dear multi-millionaire people of here, we decided to go for vegetarian dishes here. And also in good old tradition at Republica, we don't have sexism, no racism, no anti-Semitism. We distance ourselves from the classism, which is why we invite all the rich people to be part of the solution. Maybe we can start by paying taxes and to be proud of the schools and hospitals that can be built with all this money instead of the next mahogany yacht. And I know that many people do want this. Many people want this, but the market doesn't rule this. We need politics. We need people who tell this. Politicians who take their, they want to make a sustainable future for this planet. And we're back again with cash. The climate crisis goes on, and media and politicians, they discuss the costs, how to defend ourselves from the climate crisis, but don't tell us what will happen if we don't follow this. The official climate targets aren't reached. We have to pay this with our taxes, that nothing is left for hospitals or schools. But instead of discussing this together to find solutions, there's a lot of Trumpism here. Some officials say they tell lies, and they want to tell people are foes, that the political winners of this are usually the right people who want to destroy the democracy. I ask all parties that we join together to fight against climate crisis, but also to join together against racism. No one. No one will elect you when you're hugging with neo-Nazis. They will always vote for the original and laugh at you. I'm pretty sure we need a consensus between all parties. No takeover of narratives of right-wing people. There's no space for this. Whoever wants.
So, who does this and who goes into the direction of far-right politics really goes against the population, and who thinks about the results of the polls that we have every Sunday on what parties people would vote for, instead of thinking about the long-term future. That's just not right. And so there's so many people in this country who are willing to do the labor, to bring their ideas, their creativity, and they have this power to and the will to change something. I really know this after all these years of Republica and TinCon, so it's great that you're all here. And now, finally, a few words on this great program that our team created here. And so Markus Beckedahl is going to talk about the program this year. Welcome. Good morning. More people than I thought. We're really happy after all these months of preparation to step up on the stage and to see all of these nice people in one place. It's a once-a-year event. And so we always have this question at Republica, what digital society do we want to live in? And this year, like Johnny just said, do we live in a equitable society? So that's a question this year. So we're going to talk about inflation, scams, the art market, lots and lots of topics that relate to cash. And also the question, who controls our digital payment infrastructure and what values does that entail? And obviously, artificial intelligence, we know this from previous Republica instances. And now the whole society, we have these new tools, and probably a lot of you like these new tools and use them. The creative possibilities. We want to test all of this out, right? And the digital world has, for a long time, not been this interesting anymore, right? But, there's going to be a quick change. And I feel like we, as a society, aren't necessarily prepared for this change. And so what systems are these? Like, on what values have they been built? Who takes care of the data within these systems? Who controls the infrastructure? How does that relate to equality and inequality? And how will these systems influence our lives today and in the future? We need to know if an AI made a certain decision. We need to know on what sort of basis decisions are being made. And if you earn money using this technology, there should be people that can be actually held accountable when something goes awry. And so another question, the two great transformations of our time, digitization and the fight against climate change. How do we combine these two? How can we have a sustainable world without intensifying the climate crisis through the effects of digitization? Yeah, and so a lot of us here loved Twitter, and the richest person in the world bought it, right? And so he's got the power over it, and he can just on a whim change it. And now it turns out he's a far-right ideologue close to, the far-right fringe and dealing with conspiracy theories. And so we have this shift to far-right topics. And so the question is, how do we create open and shared social media? What sort of strategies can we use to protect freedom of speech, but also prevent people from being, keep people included in the discourse? And again, surveillance, right? The Snowden revelations, and we need to have a digital life that's not being fully surveilled. And also, how do we improve the media, our public broadcast systems that we all pay for here in Germany? And yeah, so back to the beginning. A lot of the program comes because of all the talks that you sent to us, and so we had to read a lot of proposals, and half of the proposals, 500 proposals, arrived on the last day of the deadline. Yeah, and so the 1 or 2 months before, we're like sitting idly by and waiting, is there going to be a rush? Will there be interest? But yeah, so together with our team of volunteers and the track team, we read all of these proposals and had to make some hard decisions. So a few hundred talks is what we selected. And we also have talks and workshops that we initiated. We have lots and lots of stages. We're not even really sure how many stages we have because, there's like all of these different areas, and we're not really sure, are they in the app or not? And so we have two apps. We have an official app and another one made by Toto, and both of those are great. And we have this, printed flyers with the program on them. And that has to be finalized like 2 or 3 weeks before, and then we still have like last-minute changes. So, it's like a great way to get a rough overview, but the printed program is not necessarily fully correct because of last-minute changes. And yeah, so 26 different stages, very big stages, very small stages. And so, we don't necessarily can predict how big the interest in a certain talk is going to be. And so if you cannot enter a certain space because it's full, don't be sad, go somewhere else. We really have a very interesting bunch of sessions for you. And so, or maybe even go talk to other people. And in the Arena Club this year, we have a media space with art exhibitions, media exhibitions. So if you exit the door, then enter the other building left to the coffee stand. We have a ship for taking a swim. We have 3 days of a great program and great people. So enjoy Republica, and now Andreas Gebhardt is going to talk a lot about something else.
Hi, everybody. Also from me, a warm welcome to Republica 23. I always wanted to make this. Nice to have you here. As usual, I have the job to say thank you. Thank you, and a big hand and a big applause to all the partners and supporters who make this event possible. Thank you. There's even more possible, I think, because it's all about a motto. It's about cash. We chose this motto in parts because we are still in a post-crisis situation, especially when it comes to Republica, that many partners feel and they couldn't do what they wanted to do, because we also talk about our own experiences when we talk about cash. And that's why it's so important to have, you know, to have. Yeah, society nearly forgot that a few months ago we've been in great sorrow about the pandemics, but now it's kind of through, basically. But for many people in society, it's not through at all, because many companies need money, and thanks to our partners. What's especially important for us, and you can also see that on our website, thanks to Nantjan, who's responsible in our team for sustainability. We published a sustainability report from last year. You wouldn't think how complex this topic is in context of events. There's no meat at our place. There's one piece we can do. Come by train or with a bike if you're close enough. There's a few things we can change to have a sustainable event here. If you're event makers yourself and you want to make your events more sustainable, we have a lot of experts in the team. You can talk to them. We really, it's deep in our heart that the whole thing is going to get a lot more sustainable, especially the industry of events. There's also something new we didn't mention. On our right side, if you go through the wall, there's one way that goes to the Oberhafen Kantine. There's also a program from the afternoon on. And there's also a food court and old computer games and a stage and installations. There's really cool things happening here. Just walk right through. That's a new area we didn't use last year. There's not only the media parkour that you can look at, but also everything in the Flutgraben. There's one more topic I want to talk about, and I supported last year's. What we're talking about at 19 o'clock in the Adidas Runways is women's football. There's no one who transmits this on the TV or something. It's not so difficult, but we need to support this, and that's something I want to talk to you about. Maybe you want to come back to the stage again? Yeah. Maybe we've forgotten something? Is my microphone on? Yes. Well, last sentence. Tanya has stage fright. She's not on the stage, but she's here. She's healthy, but yeah, she doesn't want to come up here. We also didn't fight or something. No one is forced to come on stage. That's not only about you, but also also about our team. Well, what else is to say? Use your time. It's the first day. It's half over, kind of. We have many interesting guests on our stages, and we want to thank our guests, all speakers. Thanks for being here and that you've come here, and I hope you have 3 wonderful days here, and use sunscreen.